Jon Jones is the GOAT. But is the new king already knocking on the door? Tom Aspinall is fast, dangerous, and getting harder to ignore. After every fight, more fans and fighters are asking the same thing. Is this the guy who's going to end the Jon Jones era before it even gets going again? Between age, injuries, and a long layoff, the clock is ticking for Jon. Meanwhile, Tom's hitting his peak and calling for this fight loud and clear. Is it now or never? So stay tuned, because in this video, we're laying out exactly why the Jon Jones reign might be on borrowed time, and why Tom Aspinall might be the next big problem for the UFC's heavyweight legend. So let's get into the big question right away. Can Tom Aspinall actually beat Jon Jones? Or is this just hype from another rising name in a legendary division? Here's the truth. This isn't hype. This is very real. And if you've watched Tom Aspinall's recent run, you already know why. Let's start with the obvious. Aspinall is built differently. He's not just big, he's fast. He moves like a middleweight, fights like a heavyweight, and finishes fights like it's second nature. His timing is elite. His entries are clean. And when he lands, the fight is usually over seconds later. But what really separates him? It's not just the speed, the power, or the highlight reel finishes. It's how calculated he is. Tom doesn't chase knockouts, he creates them. He pressures, reads, and punishes. And when it's time to finish, he doesn't hesitate. Let's look at the numbers. He's 14-1 with 13 finishes. Most of those came in the first round, and not against nobodies. His last two wins were against Curtis Blades and Sergey Pavlovich, two of the most dangerous heavyweights in the world. One of them went down in 69 seconds. The other lasted 1 minute. That's not hype, that's destruction. So the next logical question becomes, what about Jon? Jon Jones is one of the greatest of all time, but the Jon Jones we saw against Ciryl Gane didn't answer many questions. Yes, he won. Yes, it was dominant, but we didn't get to see how he holds up in a high-paced, high-damage fight against someone who can match him in the clinch, match him on the ground, and hit him on the way in. That's what Aspinall brings to the table. Youth, power, speed, and most importantly, confidence. This guy isn't calling out Jon just for attention. He's not clout chasing. He believes he can beat him, and based on what we've seen, that belief looks justified. He's already said it straight. I have nothing against Jon personally. I just think I'm better, and I know I can beat him. And when he says that, it doesn't sound forced. It doesn't sound scripted. It sounds real. So can Tom Aspinall beat Jon Jones? Yes, 100%. He has the tools, he has the mentality, he has the momentum. This isn't some random challenger getting a lucky shot. This is a world-class heavyweight in his prime, knocking on the door of greatness. And the longer Jon waits, the louder that knock gets. Alright, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. Has Jon Jones really slowed down? This is one of the biggest talking points surrounding this fight, and honestly, it's hard to ignore, because the Jon Jones we saw in 2023 wasn't the same Jon Jones we saw in 2015. Now, before we go any further, let's be clear. Jon Jones is still elite. He's still one of the smartest, most experienced, most dangerous fighters to ever step foot in the Octagon. He's the GOAT for a reason. But no one beats time. And if we're being real, Jon hasn't looked like prime Jon in a while. Let's rewind a bit. Before he moved to heavyweight, Jon's last few fights at light heavyweight told a story, and it wasn't one of dominance. Against Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes, he looked human. He still won, but barely. A lot of people, including top analysts, thought Reyes won that fight. And Santos? He fought Jon to a split decision on one leg. That was a red flag. Then, after a 3-year layoff, Jon finally came back, but not to a long, grueling fight. He steamrolled Ciryl Gane in under 2 minutes. Impressive? Sure, but let's be honest, Gane looked unprepared. One takedown, and the fight was over. We still didn't get answers about Jon's conditioning, his chin, or how he holds up in a back-and-forth battle. And that's where the concern starts. Jon's now in his mid-30s. He's been through wars, he's had multiple injuries, long layoffs, and more time out of the cage than in it over the last few years. Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall is active, sharp, and just now hitting his prime. Let's also talk about speed, one of Jon's biggest weapons at light heavyweight. At heavyweight, it's different. He's bulkier, he's slower. He doesn't move with the same snap he used to, and that's exactly where someone like Tom becomes a problem. Because Aspinall is not your typical heavyweight. He moves like a welterweight, with the power of a true heavyweight. He's fast on his feet. He closes distance in seconds. If Jon can't keep up with that pace, things could get ugly fast, and Jon knows that. Why do you think there's been so much delay in making this fight happen? Why did the UFC have to book him versus Stipe, a 41-year-old who hasn't fought in 3 years, instead of the surging interim champ? Look, no one's saying Jon is scared, but it's fair to say he's being calculated. He's picking his moment, and maybe, just maybe, he knows that Tom Aspinall is a different kind of threat, one he hasn't seen before. So yes, Jon Jones is still dangerous. But has he slowed down? Absolutely. And against someone like Aspinall, that could be all the difference. Why are fans calling for it now? Not next year? Not after another tune-up? Right now? Well, it comes down to one thing. Timing. Jon Jones is 36. He's at the tail end of his career. He's hinted at retirement more than once. And with the Stipe Miocic fight already being postponed, people are starting to realize if Jon walks away after that, we may never see him tested by the new generation. And that's what Tom Aspinall represents. The new wave. The guy with the momentum, the power, and the potential to shake up the entire heavyweight landscape. So why now? Because Jon's window is closing, and Tom's is wide open. Jon hasn't fought in over a year, and when he returns, it'll likely be for that long-awaited showdown with Stipe. But here's the issue. Stipe's 41. He's been inactive, and no matter how legendary he is, that fight feels more like a legacy moment than a real test. Meanwhile, Aspinall is knocking people out in under 90 seconds. He's destroying top contenders, winning interim gold, and actively asking for the Jon Jones fight. This isn't just hype, he's earned it. That's where the urgency kicks in. Because if the UFC doesn't book this fight soon, they risk missing the perfect moment. If Jon retires after fighting Stipe without ever facing the scariest guy in the division, there's always going to be an asterisk next to his heavyweight run. And that's not just bad for fans, it's bad for legacy. Jon Jones built his name by beating the best available. When he was young, he took out legends. Now that he's the legend, it's time to return the favor, to give the next generation their shot. And for Aspinall, the urgency is even more personal. He doesn't want to wait 2 years. He doesn't want to sit in the shadows while matchmakers stall. He knows his stock is at its peak, and he wants to prove to the world not just that he's good, but that he's better than the guy everyone calls the GOAT. This isn't about trash talk or bad blood. It's about proving something before the moment slips away. Because if this fight doesn't happen soon, it might never happen at all. And years from now, we'll be left asking what could have been, when we could have had one of the most dangerous matchups in heavyweight history right now. So yeah, the urgency is real. The fans know it. Aspinall knows it. And whether Jon admits it or not, he knows it too. Jon Jones is the greatest to ever do it, no question. But greatness isn't just built on wins. It's built on who you beat, and when you beat them. Right now, Tom Aspinall is the most dangerous name in the division. He's faster, he's sharper, he's finishing top contenders in under 2 minutes. And he's not coming for attention, he's coming for legacy. And that's why this fight has to happen now. Because if Jon walks away without facing Tom, there will always be that shadow, that unanswered question. What if the new guy really was better? Tom isn't waiting around. And honestly, neither are we. So UFC, it's simple. Give us the fight. The GOAT versus the new monster, before it's too late. Let us know in the comments. Who wins if they step in the cage? Jon Jones or Tom Aspinall? Hit the like button if you're ready to see this matchup actually happen. And subscribe if you want to be the first to catch every breakdown, update, and storyline as this fight builds. This isn't just a title fight. This could be the passing of the torch, or the moment the GOAT reminds us all who he is. Either way, we need to see it.